Welcome to another grammar lesson. Today we're going to be talking about Chart 1-4 in Betty Yazar's book, Understanding and Using English Grammar, 5th edition. If you have another edition or another grammar book, this information may still be useful for you. So let's get started. We're going to be talking about simple past. Because this is a pretty advanced grammar book, I'm going to guess that if you're watching these videos, you probably already know quite a bit about English grammar, or at least a good amount. So I'm not going to explain some of the details about this, but if you'd like to know more about simple past, if you do a Google search, you can find out a lot. Also, if you want to read more about simple past in detail, again, there's a free book that I wrote that you can get online. And if you Google my name, Kent Uchiyama, and verb tenses, if you Google Kent Uchiyama verb tenses, you can find the book. It's free. You can download it onto your computer, and you can read more than you ever wanted to know about the simple past. Okay. But for now, let's go ahead and get started. So, statements. John blank buy a new cell phone yesterday. Let's take a look at that sentence. So, John blank buy a new cell phone yesterday. Would you please take a moment and would you ask yourself, what form of buy do I want to put in that blank? Pause the video if you need to. Okay, I'm going to assume you paused the video if you need to. What I hope you thought was that I want to write John bought a new cell phone yesterday, because bought is the past of buy. So, a few points here. First point, you might notice bought is what we call an irregular verb. In other words, most verbs in English, like the verb walk, this red doesn't show up too well. I'm going to use a different color. Most verbs, like the verb walk, make their past in English by adding ed. But some verbs, like buy, do not use ed. They use something different. Here, buy uses bought. Some bad news. There's no rule to tell you which verbs use ed and which verbs are irregular. They don't use ed. You just have to memorize them, and it's part of learning the language. I apologize for English because we have so many irregular verbs. So, bought is the past form of buy. There was one other thing that I was thinking I should tell you about that. Hold on. Oh yeah, something else about simple past. In English, simple past is the signal or a signal that English speakers use to tell one another, I'm talking about the past. So the simple past, like all of the verb tenses, carries meaning with it. So, for example, you knew that this was past because I said yesterday. John bought a new cell phone yesterday. But if I cover this up and I just say, John bought a new cell phone, an English speaker still knows this is past because I used bought. That word bought, that past verb form, tells an English speaker, aha, I'm talking about the past, even if I don't say the time. Okay, let's take a look at negative statements. Now, a negative statement, you might remember, is a statement that uses a negative word like not, or never, or no. So, let's make this into a negative statement. Let's say, no. So here, we'll start with John, and then we'll say, buy not a new cell phone yesterday. Oops. So John buy not a new cell phone yesterday. So here, in this one, you bought one. Here, no, this didn't happen. So, again, I'm going to ask you, take a look at this sentence. John buy not a new cell phone yesterday. Take a moment, pause the video if you want to, and ask yourself, decide what should go in this blank. And if you're sitting with somebody, talk to them about it. Okay, so let's find out what I should put. I'm hoping that what you wrote was, John did not buy a new cell phone yesterday. John did not buy a new cell phone yesterday. Now, this is the way that I make a negative past statement in English. What I'll do, what I have here is I have did plus not plus simple form. Did plus not plus simple form. So I could say John did not buy a new cell phone yesterday. John did not go to the mall yesterday. We did not have class yesterday. I'll always use did and not and simple form to make a negative statement in English, unless the verb is be. Be is always weird in English. Now, I have a question for you at this point. Can I say this? Can I say John did not bought a cell phone yesterday? Would you take a minute and ask yourself that question? Pause the video if you want a moment to think. Okay, I'm going to assume you're back. Can I say John did not bought a cell phone in English? The answer is no, I cannot say that. And if you have a logical mind, you may be thinking, why? Why is that? We're talking about yesterday, we're talking about the past. Why don't I use the past form? Good question. The way that I need to make the past, negative past in English is always did and not and simple form. I don't use the past form. It may not make sense, but that's what I have to do. Something you might think about is, you might say, oh, this part of it is past. So this other part, did, is past. So this other part, by, isn't past. Only one part is past. Maybe that helps. But I cannot say John did not bought. When I'm making negative statements in English, did and not and simple form. Okay, I hope that helps. Let's take a look at questions. So, let's see, maybe I'll try green here. Okay, so here I have a question. And you can tell it's a question because I put a question mark at the end. Yeah, I think that's dark enough. So, blank John buy a new cell phone yesterday? Again, I'm going to ask you, take a moment and think, what should go in this blank? What do you think should go in this blank? Okay, pause the video if you want. Okay, I'm back. I hope you're back. The way that I make a question, well, let's write it first. See if you got this right. The first word I would write is did. Then I would write John, and then I would write buy. Let's take a look at what I've got here. Here I have did plus subject plus simple form. Remember, simple form I think I said it in an early video, but if you didn't watch that, simple form is the form that you look up in the dictionary. It's the form of the verb with no S, no ed, no ing. So here I have the word did, and here I have the subject. You'll remember that the subject is the person or thing that does the action. So here the action is buying. Who's buying? Oh, John is buying. John is the person that's doing the action. John is the subject. And then I have simple form, buy. Again, notice simple form, not bought, buy. And not buys. No S on that. Just simple form. No S, no ed, no ing. Did John buy a new cell phone yesterday? Okay. Now, there are a couple of other things that I want to share with you, or that I want to tell you about simple past. First thing about simple past is, what does it mean? And I it means that it's past. But something about that I want to make clear for you is, when I mean it happens in the past, it means it's finished in the past. So, in other words, it doesn't continue until now. So, whenever you see a simple past tense in English, or any of the past tenses in English, all of the past tenses in English are always complete. The action is finished in the past. It doesn't continue until now. That can be important a little bit later when we're talking about some of the other verb tenses and making clear what the difference is. Another point. Oh yeah, you might have heard me mention that there were other verb tenses in English, other past verb tenses. So yeah, there's past progressive, there's past perfect, there's past perfect progressive. A little bit of good news. Usually, in fact, I'd say almost always, if we're talking about the past in English, simple past is a tense you can use, okay? There's some times that I need to use the other past tenses, but most of the time, simple past is good for a past sentence. So, if you're not sure, or if you're taking a test in English, and you know what's happening in the past, and you're not sure which past tense to use, if you have to guess, if it's in the past, simple past is probably right. So that might be useful. Now, you heard me mention other verb tenses. You're probably asking a question in your mind. Okay, he said that the simple past tense is usually right, but when do I need to use the other past tenses? And how are they different? That's a really good question. And we are going to be talking about that in the next video when we start talking about past progressive. I hope you found this useful.